All righty. Here we go. The date, September 27th, 1925. The place, Dreamland Park in Newark, New Jersey. The time, well, it wasn't Monday Night Football, I can tell you that much. It was probably 1, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. The teams, the New York Football Giants at the Newark Red Jackets. Hell yeah. This is basically pretty much the first game, exhibition game. As I'm going to read an article, short little snippet here. It's might even first, like maybe scrimmage exhibition game, however you want to categorize it, that the New York Football Giants ever had. Now, the New York Giants, when you look at a lot of the historical records and all that, right? After they started in 1925, their first game, for the most part, that gets put down is on October 4th, 1925. They went to New Britain, Connecticut, the Giants, and they played against the all New Britain team from New Britain, Connecticut. They winning that one 26-0. Well, that was on October 4th. The following week, October 11th, is when the Giants would play their first ever professional football game. They played the Providence Steamroller on October 11th. They took a boat to Providence, Rhode Island, and that was another. If you watch my YouTube video on that, the New York Giants at the Providence Steamroller on October 11, 1925. I'm sorry, 1925. They took a boat over from New York to Rhode Island, and the boat trip was kind of a little story in itself. So want to check out my video on that, the New York Giants at the Providence Steamroller on October 11th, 1925. Talks about that, but most people, a lot of what you see online is the first game ever was the New York Giants at the all New Britain team. That was an exhibition game. Well, the week before that, on September 27th, 1925, the Giants wind up playing a game against the Newark Red Jackets. It was at Dreamland Park. I'll pop it up here. It was Dreamland Park. It was in Elizabeth, I guess, in Newark, New Jersey. I'm not sure if Elizabeth is in Newark, but it's up northern Jersey. It's up by Newark, very close to New York City. And the Dreamland Park, I got this. I was looking on Wikipedia, and Dreamland Park popped up, but it was also associated with Coney Island. So it wasn't in Coney Island. This game not played. It was played in New Jersey. It was played in Newark. And so there's a site that I have here. It says Lost Amusement Parks for New Jersey. And one of them, it lists at Dreamland Park in Elizabeth, Newark, New Jersey. And the Dreamland Park was from 1922 to 1939. Now I looked, and actually here it says on this site right here, it says Dreamland Park, Elizabeth, Newark, New Jersey, 1922, 1939. And then it says map, and it says nothing known. So I'm not exactly sure, there's absolutely nothing known about this particular park. But it was only around for like a little over 15 years. So exactly what the park had, I said without trying to spend half my life trying to drum up something on Dreamland Park, it was in Newark, New Jersey. The Giants played there against the Newark Red Jackets on September 27th, 1925. Now, quite interestingly, there was a game, if I can find it here, then these basically, I guess, between like two independent teams. This was happening in 1923. On October 28th, 1923, the Minneapolis Red Jackets played against the Newark Tornadoes. That went to a 0-0 tie. But as far as, if you're looking like under Wikipedia for Newark Red Jackets, you're not going to find nothing. You're basically not going to find nothing at all except for maybe like this video on when you type in Google. If you type in Newark Red Jackets, this video is going to pop up. So there's like almost nothing known whatsoever against the Newark Red Jackets. And I'm going to read a couple of articles here and all little snippets. One of them is an article, and others is like snippets out of it, like a biography or whatever. They pretty much like got together, and this team, and they disbanded pretty much after this one game. It was pretty much, some will call it like a glorified like scrimmage. Some called it, kind of like an exhibition game. But as we find out here, I think they only played this one game. They got together, I think, the day before the game. They did some jumping jacks and whatever like that before the game, and then they played the Giants in this one game. So, but they got together because of this one gentleman, John Alexander, who actually played one season for the Giants. He played this guy, John Alexander. I'm going to read be some snippets once again with him as well. He played 2 seasons in the NFL. He played 1922. He played for Milwaukee, the Milwaukee Badgers, and he played right tackle. This guy, John Alexander from Milwaukee. Then in 1926, he played right tackle for the Giants. He played 9 games for the Giants in 1926. The Giants were 8-4-1, and he's the one that kind of got these players together. Now, this guy John Alexander, he's the one that got his Newark buddies together, okay, for this particular game. Interestingly, he made pro football history. It says he played for the New York Giants in 1926. He's believed to be the oldest living Giant when at the time of this article. I'm not sure when this article is here, but he made pro football history on October 1st, 1922, while playing the first outside linebacker position for the Milwaukee Badgers. Remember, he played in 1922 and in 1926. So who was the first outside linebacker in the NFL? Well, it was John Alexander. He's the guy that got together the Newark Red Jackets together. So while playing the outside linebacker position for the Milwaukee Badgers against the Chicago Cardinals, the Cardinals won the fierce defensive battle 3-0. But a report on the game said Alexander played well. What he wound up doing, he said he decided to make the historic move to give himself a little more leeway on the field. So instead of being crowded into the line of scrimmage, okay, what he said, he moved back. He was basically like kind of like an end, right? But he said he took one step back and was one step out. So he got off the line of scrimmage back a little bit and went out a little bit. So basically an outside linebacker. So he said he moved one step back and was 1 yard outside of where the defensive end position would be. So basically he started he was the first ever. And basically after that, I don't know who was an outside linebacker. The next time a person was an outside linebacker, but this guy, John Alexander, right, he got this group of players together. So he was the first quote unquote outside linebacker. And I said he played for the Giants in 1926. He said John had in this little snippet I'm going to get right here. There's 4 of them I'm going to wind up reading it pretty much all because there's not much on this game at all. All right. So pretty much there's little snippets. I'm going to have this one article I'm going to have. And all pretty much says about the same thing. All right. It says John also had a hand in the New York Giants' debut in the NFL. which is the game we're talking about right here, the Giants against the Newark Red Jackets. John, Alexander gathered, and when I say John Alexander, there were two Giants, all right, on the 1926 team. So there's Doc Alexander and John Alexander. Don't get the two of them confused. It's not the end of the world if you do, but Doc Alexander in 1926, when John Alexander played for the Giants, Doc Alexander was a player and the coach. He coached for the Giants for one season. Bob Folwell was the Giants coach in 1925. So the 1925, this game that I'm talking about, Bob Folwell was the coach for the Giants. In 1926, Doc Alexander became the coach of the Giants. But so John Alexander played, so on 1926 team, there was two Alexanders. One was Doc Alexander, who was a player and a coach. And then there's John Alexander, who was just a player. So if you ever look up the 1926 New York Giants and you go underneath their roster, you're going to see two Alexanders. One was Doc Alexander and one was John Alexander. As I said, Doc was the coach. He was a player coach for one season for the Giants, 1926. All right, so John Alexander also had a hand in the Giants' debut in the NFL. John gathered 12 of his pals to face the tough Gothamites on September 27, 1925. So John Alexander, right, got together like 12 of his pals. So I guess it was John and maybe 12 other guys. So I guess they had 13 guys, all right, on September 27, 1925. The pickup players called themselves, don't know why, the Red Jackets. They faced the Giants at Newark's Dreamland Park in the Weekahick maybe section of town. So wherever the Weekahick section of town is in Newark, that's where Dreamland Park was at. Remember, I said Dreamland Park, I think was around in existence from, I think it was 1922 to 37 or 39, whatever it happened to be. '22 to 39, 1922 to 1939. That's when Dreamland Park was around. The game drew more than 3,500 fans, and the Jackets displayed a tough defense, but they fell to the Giants 3-0. The Red Jackets, who did nothing more than a few calisthenics before the game, or a few exercises before the game. I guess they touched their toes, maybe did some push-ups. They give me a couple sit-ups, and all right, we're good to go. They held their own against the Giants and earned $50 for their efforts. Alexander made many outstanding tackles, which stopped some long runs by the Giants. Then it says John played for Orange that year, and it beat the Giants for the Eastern Pro Football title. I'm not exactly sure what that means, because the Giants did for the Eastern. That was quite possibly there's made like an independent league or something like that. It says here John Alexander played for the Orange that year, and it beat the Giants for the Eastern Pro Football title. Well, the Giants, they're not talking about the New York Giants here, so I'm not exactly sure what that means. But so basically, it was a 3-0 battle. I think I'm going to read a couple more little snippets right here, but I think the Giants kicked the field goal in the final quarter. Let's see here. All right, so here's another one right here. Let's see here. Oh, and this little snippet right here. Joe Doc Alexander should not be confused with John Alexander from Rutgers, who played for the Giants in 1926 when Doc was the player coach. But John has a part in this story because he organized a team to scrimmage with the Giants before they went to New Britain to play the all New Britain team the following week. According to Chris Thorne on the Professional Football Researchers Association, their website, I went to their website and I looked, I couldn't find anything, but John gathered 12 of his pals to face the tough Gothamites on September 27, 1925. The pickup players called themselves the Red Jackets. They faced the Giants at Newark's Dreamland Park. It's all the same thing. They played tough defense, but they fell to the Giants 3-0. The Red Jackets, who did nothing more than a few exercises before the game, earned $50 for their efforts. And I said, there's no, there's no starting lineups or nothing like this. I have no idea who played for the Giants in this particular game. Did Jim Thorpe play for the Giants in this game? I don't know. Says that they're talking about this little snippet I got right here. They're talking about the game that the Giants played when they played the All New Britain team on October 4th, 1925. This little snippet here says, the week prior, they're talking about the week prior to the All New Britain game, the Giants played in New Jersey against the Newark Red Jackets, a team cobbled together at the last minute that disbanded after what amounted to a glorified scrimmage. NFL historians mark that game as an exhibition contest, as they do the game against the All New Britain, because All New Britain wasn't in the NFL. So it was just, it was a glorified scrimmage. It was a exhibition, whatever you want to call it, right? Okay, so this is the only article I can find. This was, give me just a second here. Do apologize. This was from the Central New Jersey. This is this is from the Central New Jersey Home News. There was also an article as well too, and I could not find it. It was from the where are we at? Can I find it here? Nope. Oh, it was here. It's here somewhere. There it is. Nope. There was a newspaper in Staten Island called the Staten Island Advance. Now on this website I got here, it says on September 27th, the Giants beat they played at the Newark Red Jackets. They won 3-0. Apparently, Billy Gibson possibly was the coach. And that information was gathered from an article in the Staten Island Advance, and I couldn't find. I'm looking through the archives here, and I can't find anything from the Staten Island Advance at all. So if there's an article in Staten Island Advance, which Staten Island, New York, I couldn't find it. But apparently, in this little right here on this website, possibly Billy Gibson might have been the coach. I'm not exactly sure. All right, so then I got one more little to read right here, and that is, as I said, this is the article, the only article I could find. So from the Central New Jersey Home News. All right, a field goal from the 30-yard line in the last few minutes of play by Hendrian, player from the Giants, a former Princeton player, now with the New York Giants, was the only score made yesterday when the New Yorkers defeated the Newark Red Jackets at Dreamland Park. The Red Jackets had but a day of practice for the game with the Giants, and their exhibition in holding the New Yorkers from crossing their goal was one of the features of the game. I mean, I got to give those guys a lot of credit. Let me tell you. Henry Benkert, former Rutgers star and leading scorer of the country last season in college, was the individual star of the game. He made two sensational gains of 20 yards each and another for 30 yards, but his teammates were unable to follow up his work. A large crowd of New Brunswickers went to Newark yesterday to see the former Rutgers star in action. So apparently, as I said, it was in Dreamland Park. Like 3,500 people might have shown up. It was a field goal from the 30-yard line by, let's see, I want to get it, make sure I get his, I think it was Dutch Hendrian. Let me see here. Dutch Hendrian. A 30-yard field goal from Dutch Hendrian with just a few minutes left to go in the game. Was the only scoring in this whole game, as I said. But you got to give credit where credit's due, right? I mean, the Newark Red Jackets, just formed like the day before this game. I guess I'm guessing September 26, 1925. They just formed, right? They got together and they decided to play an NFL football team. And now, once again, this is the first game the Giants ever played, period. Now, whether it was a glorified scrimmage or an exhibition game, whatever you want to call it, this is the first game the Giants ever played in the history of the team. So they weren't a formidable opponent. And actually, it took the Giants 4 games in the NFL season in 1925 to score their first touchdown. They didn't win. They didn't win to the 4th game of the season. As a matter of fact, they got their first 3 games. They got shut out twice, and in one of the games they only scored a field goal. So they were not a formidable opponent, shall we say, going into this game against the Newark Red Jackets. But just to get like 12 or 13 guys, buddies together, right, have them do a few calisthenics before the game and basically hold the Giants out of the end zone, it's pretty remarkable. And basically the Giants didn't score until just a couple minutes left to go in the game, and they wound up winning the score of 3-0. So, and just to go to show you, kind of impressive that it was only 3-0. You got to give the Newark Red Jackets some credit, because the following week, on October 4th, 1925, the Giants went and they played the all New Britain team, and they would win that game 26-0. So they scored some points in that game, but they didn't score. They only scored 1 field goal in their opening game. So, whether you want to call it a scrimmage, you want to call it an exhibition game or whatever, the first game, pretty much period, pretty much bar none in the history of the New York Football Giants, was played on September 27th, 1925 at Dreamland Park in Newark, New Jersey. So that's what happened on this particular day, September 27th, 1925, in New York Football Giants history. I'll see you next time.